Hello and welcome to Never Heard It, the show where I review classic albums that I never got around to listening to. But this week I brought along a friend. He is the co-host of the Orlando radio program Our Show, which airs every Saturday from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on WPRK 91.5 FM. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Beet Unique.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. Oh, man. Thank you for the invite. Appreciate it.
So we're just going to jump right into it. The album that we're talking about today is OC's debut album, WordLife. And this is an album that I've never heard either, so we're jumping in this one together.
Oh, dope. Dope.
So first question, why is it you've never heard this album?
So it came out in 94? I was 94. Probably in 7th grade. It just got missed. The weird thing is doing this, just going through and listening. Apparently, I got into sophomore albums first, which I don't know. Luckily, it was the right sophomore albums. Do you remember the Columbia House Music Club?
Yeah.
I did that like in middle school. Like I didn't tell my mom. I just signed up. So you get like for whoever, this is old stuff right here. But whoever doesn't know about that, it's basically you had stamps and they had all these. You got like 8 or 12 records for a penny. And, as a kid, I was like, "Oh, that's dope." I didn't know what it meant. And, you put a stamp and then you send it away. So I know 3 I got Illmatic because I started with It Was Written First. Jules, Beats, Rhyme, and Life by Tribe. I can't remember the other ones I got. But I listen to Jules at least once a year. That's one of my favorite albums. So I always pop that in. That's a great album. So I just missed it. So I'm glad I went back though. Yeah.
I listened to Jules first too. So and it's an album. It's a little long, I think, but I think that overall, I mean, it's in my opinion, it may be better than WordLife. I don't know. We can talk about that, but
I think like it definitely got better as he got older. Like this album's good, but I definitely feel like it just the production, the sound got better, everything. Like it's like lyrically, he got better. You know what I mean? So
were there any particular songs that you liked about?
Man, I mean, Time's Up. I've always loved that album. I went through on my vinyl. I'm like, I don't have any OC at all. Like it's all CD, so I don't have any vinyl by OC. But Time's Up and was it Born?
Born to Live.
Born to Live. Yeah. So those two both. I remember the videos on those.
Yeah.
But no, I mean the whole album. I think the first track threw me off because I'm like, what in the world is why is it sound like that? Like it sounds like when I used to DJ back in the day, I would do like backbeats and stuff, and I would like, oh, that's cool. Like the drums are like, and I'm like, who produced this? And then that's when I found out, oh, Organized Confusion produced I think like 3 tracks off this. So I'm like, that makes complete sense. Because that sounds like something they would rhyme on top of. Most of the tracks I liked. I didn't like a lot of the production from, was it OG?
I think he only did...
he did like two. Yeah, so it was a little bit more grittier, but the vocals definitely you could tell was recorded in a different spot, I think.
Yeah.
But what was it? Yeah, that Creative Control is the first track. That kind of threw me off, but it picked up with WordLife. I really liked WordLife too. It has, I call it the Christmas bell.
The Christmas bell. I don't know what that was. I don't know why.
It's all over. I was like, oh, there's the Christmas. That's classic 90s. Classic 90s.
I don't know what it is with the sleigh bells. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That was on WordLife, and Buck Wild just completely, I mean, as always, he's one of my favorite producers. Let It Slide, that's the one with Pharoah Monches in the hook.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, right, like the very beginning, there's that quick spot. I'm like, is this like, was he created lo-fi? I know he did, but I'm like, it sounds like a lo-fi beat. It sounded really dope. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, and then it switched. I'm like, oh, that's sad. I wish I could have heard more of that. But, right away, I heard, you remember the song, do you know the song Stress by Organized Confusion?
Yeah.
I heard that right away. So I dug in, I'm like, Buck Wild did it. And then he produced Stress too. I'm like, oh, okay. So they had to produce that. He had to make that beat around the same time. So I think it was the same year too. that those both came out.
Going back to Time's Up, do you know that was originally for Pharoah Monch?
I think I heard something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole story. Like he was basically, I didn't know this, but like Organized Confusion and OC kind of grew up together. Like I didn't know how close they were, but they've known each other for years. And I didn't realize that until I listened to this album and I saw him like all over it. I didn't get it, but yeah, they grew up together.
Is he on a song?
He's on Fudge Pug.
He's probably on a lot of them. Oh,
the first time you ever hear OC, he's on Fudge Pug.
Okay.
He's on that.
Yeah, my brain is fucking.
Yeah. But basically, like people were like sending Pharoah Monch beats, and OC heard that one. He was like, "What are you gonna do with that one?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get to it," and then he just never did. So OC actually stole the beat, like, however, like I don't know if it was on cassette or a DAT or whatever, but he stole it and he took it to Buck Wild. And the guy who actually produced the original beat is Prestige, who's one of the hitmen. He produced Point of View. He co-produced it.
Okay.
But Buck Wild heard it and he was like, "Oh, I recognize that loop." So he used the same loop and he just made the beat over. So we don't know what the original beat sounded like. Buck Wild just produced it and then he just went in and he just decided to take it for himself. And that was the first song that he made for this album.
Was Time's Up?
Yeah, well, he made a bunch of other songs. Like he was working with MC Search, and he made a bunch of other songs. Search was like, "Nah, that's not the one. That's not the one." He kept making songs, and then he finally came in with this one. He was like, "That's the one." So he made that one, and then after, I don't know, a couple weeks later, he finished the album.
I mean, that was a good choice because Time's Up completely like shows like who he is lyrically. Wasn't Nas supposed to be on this album too?
Yeah,
and like Nas
but he didn't show up. Yeah, he didn't show up or something like that. There's a lot of stories where Nas was supposed to be on the song, but something happened and he just didn't end up on the song. Like in the early 90s, that happened a lot. I don't know what Nas is doing, but he was supposed to be on a bunch of records, but he just doing something.
That would have been interesting to hear on.
And back to Point of Views, the intro of that song uses the same Seed of Love sample that Just Blaze eventually used for PSA, for Jay-Z. That dun dun dun.
Oh yeah.
Dun, dun. Yeah, that. And apparently, like when Just Blaze talks about how he made that song, he doesn't mention OC. So I guess he never heard this album either. And apparently Jay-Z never heard it either. But supposedly like someone else brought the record in and he made it. But I wish he had rapped over that because that's just the intro. I wish he had rapped over that because the beat that comes after it is kind of like a little R&B, jazzy, and it's not bad, but it's like I really wish he would have rapped over that.
Yeah, Prestige, he produced R&B music too, I think, if I remember right.
So he's one of the hitmen, like
so like Bad Boy, like he worked with, because he did Victory.
Oh,
also on Time's Up, man. I'm listening to it again because I've listened to a song, but when you're really like listening to an album, like to do something like this, you really dig in. I'm like, man, I've heard like his lyrics aren't like
on a bunch
quotable,
of other...
but what he says like is like a dope line to like pick up. I said that Time's Up was sampled 76 times. The more emotion I put in it, the harder I rock. F who I offend, rapper sit back, I'm about to begin.
I feel like I heard that beat before I ever heard the song because like rappers would always freestyle over that beat. Every time somebody wanted to freestyle, they throw on that beat. And actually that beat is one of the things that's used in 8 Mile.
Yeah.
And apparently Eminem didn't pay for the clearance. And so OC got a big check afterwards, like a couple years later, he got a big check.
Good for him.
I think he only cleared like the music, but not the lyrics. So I guess Buck Wild got paid, but OC didn't, or something like that. But yeah, he after like a year, he went back with his lawyers, and he got broken off real nice.
Good. I didn't Go Ahead. I didn't like Go Ahead very much.
It was a very like that typical 90s song where there's a guy that gets rejected and he finds out she's a lesbian because no
I don't even have notes for that one. I mean, it's not something I can't listen to.
Yeah.
Like this is definitely like if I'm going on a trip, I can put this album on and just ride to it and just, you know, but that's definitely what I like. I didn't have anything to like write a note about or anything. So.
Yeah, I don't know. It felt like he was just trying to force a story. Like he wanted to write a story rap and he just kind of forced it.
Yeah.
You were saying earlier about their production as far as Buck Wild. I really like his production, but I think when OC rhymes over a lot of his beats, because a lot of his production is really like laid back. And I think OC kind of lays back too when the beat is, and the beats that he produced, the songs that he's on, I didn't find as interesting as the ones that were produced by other people, especially Organized Noise. Like pretty much Organized Noise, Organized Confusion. I knew I was going to do that. I knew I was going to do that. But when he's like working with them, I don't know. Maybe I just like Organized Confusion better. Like it's just their sound is so interesting and very weird a little bit. So maybe I just like that better just because it has a little more edge to it. Like Constables, the police song, like I really like when I first heard that one. I really like that one just because it has like a different feel to it. And it's just, I don't know, I like the songs where he's working with Organized Confusion more so than I like the Buck Wild songs, even though I do like those songs, but those other songs, it just felt like it had more grit to them. Like it had more.
Yeah. That like Organized Confusion's production has always been crazy. I really wish I would have heard Monch on that Let It Slide and not just on the hook, because I really.
Yeah, I was really expecting to hear him because I saw his name. I'm like, okay, all right.
I was like, oh man, he must be going last. And I'm like, no.
All right. Was that his mom singing on Ma Dukes?
I was trying to, I don't know. I was going to research that later after this.
Yeah, I tried to like look up any information. I couldn't find anything.
I hate when you're like, they don't put everybody that's on there. I'm like, who is that? Who is that person singing? Why wouldn't that person like get any, like, I'm like, I need to know who this is. And they don't put it anywhere. And then you have to like
just because he says like, I'm going to let mom sing and then she sing, and I thought because the name of the song is Ma Dukes, I thought it was going to be like a dedication to his mom, and it's really not. And then when I hear the sing, I'm like, is that his mom singing? Because she sounds kind of young, so I don't know if that would be a really interesting thing. Like if it was sort of like Nas's dad playing horn on his album. I don't know.
I always wonder. I'm like, when they don't put their name, does that mean they didn't get paid? It's like, nah, you just gonna.
He didn't pay his mom. What do you think of Story? I think Story is like one of the illest songs on the album. Like it is.
I liked it a lot. It was probably the grittiest sound.
Yeah.
Like, the sample was like really gritty. I'm like, I thought it was my speakers at first. I'm like, what is? And then I'm like, oh no, that's just a sample. And I'm like, yeah, I really liked it. I didn't like the vocals on what was it? No Main Topic. I think there was like an effect on his voice. It just threw me off a little bit, but the story was definitely
Actually, I did like No Main Topic a lot. I think it is one of those songs that's just, I don't know, it's just one of the songs that I like more just because it was just weirder. I don't know.
No. Again, like Prince Poe is on there.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why do you only do a few bars? Like I would have loved to hear him feature on that song. You know what I mean? So, I think that's just my love for Organized Confusion. The outro, the Sabotage, threw me for a little bit of a loop too. It was that sample, a lot of people use that sample. It's Riding High by Phase something. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Check, whoever's watching this, check. Phase something. Anyway, I love that sample.
So if you were to compare this to other albums that came out in '94, we're talking Illmatic, Ready to Die, Southern Playalistic, There's a Dark Side, Redman, The Diary by Scarface. I don't know if you listen to Scarface like I do, but yeah.
That was my first Scarface album, was The Diary.
Okay. I think the best year is 1988, but my personal favorite is '94. And if I was to make a list of my favorite albums, well, I'll ask you, if you were to make a list, would this make your list?
Yeah, I would say this would definitely go in that group. Definitely. Yeah.
But it would be one of your favorites.
No, that's
That's different. In my opinion, it's a B plus. This album is a B plus. I
would go with that.
Like, it's a solid album. It's a solid album. I think people should listen to it if they've never heard it. But there's, in my opinion, there's like, that year specific just had so many other great albums. That's probably why I missed it. All right, so wrapping up, is there anything else that you want to talk about? Anything that you're working on? Anything on the show that you want to talk about?
We've just been doing the show. The show's been around for like 13 years. I came in like almost halfway to help out. You know, it's our show. NoBetterHipHop.com. That's KNOW. NoBetterHipHop.com. So that, I have a website. If I just put on stuff on there just to. During COVID, I'm like, I'll learn how to make a web page. So that's one of the things I did. I was on furlough. So I learned how to make a web page. So it's stuff I'm just interested in that, like I've put some of your albums on there usually when you come out with album, I put it on there. It changes weekly. And it just has information about the show.
Have you said the name what's the name of the website?
It's beetunique.com.
All right.
So, and it's just like, I put stuff that I think is funny on there that I've watched the thing. So I just throw whatever I'm watching on YouTube on there and things that, I thought would be good. Other people might not know about. So, yeah.
Where can we find you on the socials?
You just go to my webpage. I'm on Twitter, Instagram. Those are two I go to. So you can hit me up at beetunique.com. All my information's down there.
All right, cool. All right, so you people out there watching, have you heard WordLife? Are you still bumping it to this day? I'm going to keep talking about albums until I run out. Until then, we are two guys on the internet that don't know everything. Peace.